Yes, guys, we're back. This is the Mallam Goal Podcast. I am your Chief Mallam.
Side gig Mallam.
Yeah, this is our first video podcast, man.
Yeah, man.
Charlie,
I'm looking forward to this.
How do you guys like the setup?
No, I feel good and it's very comfortable.
Yeah, I need a pillow myself. I don't know why people have.
There you go.
Thank you very much. This one. If I did here, if I get bonus, nobody gonna.
But why would you be getting a bonus?
My wife will text me. What's wrong with you?
You're making me very uncomfortable.
If you pay marry,
Focus
focus on the job.
You guys, Charlie, AFCON is here.
Yeah.
And for those of you watching right now, for the whole month of January and the whole month of February, well, until the AFCON is over, this podcast is dedicated to African football. Okay, we'll be here when the Black Stars start the competition, and we'll be here when they bring that trophy back home. Say amen. Come on, man. Okay, no problem. Anyway, guys, how are you?
I'm well.
You all right?
I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. I can't wait for AFCON to kickstart.
Charlie, my whole life,
Okay.
before the start of every AFCON, I've been saying Ghana will win. And we don't win. So on 31st, I asked God, say the formula no what's up. And he says, maybe if I switch it, if I don't say anything, or I say Ghana will not win, maybe it will come to pass.
So
It
for
will
now-
switch. So for now, I'm quiet.
Yeah, and me, every AFCON, I say Ghana will not win. So
now
this
you're saying
year,
Ghana will
I am remaining positive. We are winning. We are winning. Sucho,
win.
I don't know about you. I feel too comfortable. Let me put this side by my side.
Bring it.
Take your thing. Your thing, I know like again. Anyway, listen. We have a lot to cover today on the show. Lots of matches coming up this week, and we'll cover as many of them as possible. Also, in today's podcast, we'll have a little, quick fire questions. Ask the guys who their favorites are, who you guys think will be the biggest flops, who you think will be the biggest surprise element, who you think would be. I think every AFCON always has an unsung hero, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, expectations. Now, 20,000 volunteers at this AFCON. I can go on 6 brand new stadiums. And I say brand new because all of them have been reworked. There are 24 training centers. Ghana doesn't even have one. There are, countless number of beautiful women and colors. When you hit Côte d'Ivoire, Abidjan, there's a big Aquaba sign everywhere you go. Pam. And this tournament itself was supposed to have been held in 2021. It's been delayed for 3 years now. That 2021 edition was given to Cameroon. Côte d'Ivoire, they even protested as a result of the tournament being given to Cameroon. But now we are here, and the opening game is on Saturday, and we'll talk about that. But lots of other stories around the AFCON. We'll cover those ones quick, sharp, before we get into the details. I'm not even going to ask any question. First of all, Gambia.
Yep. What a nightmare. Let's first of all, the whole conversation about discussions being had about the bonuses that were supposed to be paid.
Yeah.
And first they didn't turn up for the last training session they should have.
It's not an AFCON without that kind of story, is it? Bonus stories.
This tells you AFCON is around the corner. AFCON is just here.
An African team is going to play that competition.
That's right.
And fans turn up for the training session and the players are not there. Manager has to go then and tell the fans they are sorry. As if that is not enough. Then Gambia is supposed to depart. Gambia. They camped in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Then came down to
back
Zambia
home
to hold their final sessions.
Yes.
And then jet off to Côte d'Ivoire. And Zambia now get on the plane. They are going to the AFCON. Fans are looking forward to see their team in Côte d'Ivoire. As soon as the players get into the plane, according to reports, they realize that it is incredibly warm. In fact, it's hot.
It's hot.
In the cabin. Now players complain because they are sweat. Videos have emerged where they are sweating. People have to take off their kaftan, the top of it.
Oh my God.
And now they are complaining that how is it this hot in the cabin? And as soon as the plane jets off, it's going to be. When you're driving and then your AC is not working well, the more you fire, the more you feel the AC.
It's like Daniel's car. If you sit in the car and the car is not moving, the AC is not working. So they told that people that the AC will work.
The AC will work as soon as the plane takes off.
I don't talk anything.
Okay. Now, even before the plane took off, People had passed out in the plane, and people who were conscious but suffering headache and a bit of discomfort thought these people who had passed out
We're sleeping.
were sleeping. They tried to wake them up,
Wow.
and some of them had collapsed. They had gone off. The jet took off 9 minutes, and the pilots realized that no, there was no oxygen. There was not enough oxygen for those in the cabin to breathe in.
Okay.
So they had to make an emergency land. And you can imagine the trauma these footballers and the technical team or everybody in that plane would have gone through. So I mean, they are going to the AFCON. They have to play football. In fact, when they landed, they had to train later in that evening.
Yeah.
Try and get themselves ready. And
Back in Gambia.
Back in
When
Gambia, they had
came
to
back,
train.
and then
But the conditions haven't been favorable to them.
That's
So.
Listen, our good friend Gary tweeted it. I'm just going to read it for you. He says the Gambia, they've had a rough prep.
Yeah.
They drove 2 hours from their Saudi camp to the airport, then flew 4 hours to Istanbul, then 6 hours in transit at the airport, 5 hours flight from Istanbul to Casablanca. Then they waited in Casablanca for 7 hours on transit again. And then they flew from Casablanca to Gambia, another 4-hour flight. Then, of course, they boycotted the training due to the bonus payment issues. And then the flight issues that had to bring them back. That is some prep.
Yeah. And considering the fact that they're in the group of death.
Yes.
Themselves, Senegal, there's a
Cameroon,
Guinea in there.
Guinea
there's
and Cameroon, yeah.
Oh,
Group of death. And
damn.
They're already dead.
you're already dead. You're already dead. Because seriously, how do you prepare? How do you possibly prepare for a competition like this? But look, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the players. And honestly speaking, if I was a player, I'll have some serious beef to pick with the management, because why that long flight from Saudi Arabia to Gambia? So many
Stoppages and so many hours in
Yeah,
transit.
really,
if you're
really
not trained,
unnecessary.
there's no point.
There's no point. So if I'm asking myself, if you think that preparation is enough at Saudi Arabia, then go straight to Cote d'Ivoire. There's no reason to go back to Gambia, have one training session, then the following day you have to leave and then come to. Unless maybe they wanted to see their home fans before. But if that was the
from
case,
what I understand, that's exactly the reason. Gambia actually didn't play qualifying matches at home.
yeah.
So the team was away the whole time.
Mhm.
So that one training session was the only opportunity for the fans to see the players.
Then in that case,
farewell training.
Then in
basically.
that case, what I would do if I was the manager of Gambia,
You were Tom Saife.
No, not he's not.
The
I'm
FA,
sure
oh,
the
the
FA.
FA, yeah.
If I was the FA president, I'll let the players convene in Gambia first.
Yes, we start our first session there.
Then have a proper send-off with the fans there. Then we go to Saudi. Straight from Saudi, we are going to the competition. Because this affects them. This is the last interaction between themselves and the fans before they go to the competition. And whatever state your body is in, it's a carry forward. You take this tiredness, this fatigue into the competition, and it's not really a good way. If this thing had happened, let's say 10 days ago, they would easily have recovered in Saudi
They play on
Arabia.
Monday, yeah? Against
They play
Senegal.
on Monday.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and look at the preparation the Senegalese got. Look at how beautiful they were looking.
But what about people would say, these things happening can be a motivational factor for the team. Look at what we went through. Can we draw some inspiration from
that's
it?
true.
Can we say because we went through
That is
in
true.
quotes,
But if you're
hell,
going to face Senegal in your face,
no
that's not
motivation,
how. You don't do that.
It
You don't
took,
do that. You
it
need
took
the
the
best
intervention
possible
of the
preparation.
president,
yeah,
Adama Barrow, who was out of the country, by the way, when the incident happened.
yeah.
But why does he need to get
Yeah.
there? That's my.
It's
problem.
always like that, all
Why
right?
does he
In
always need to get
2014,
there?
it took John Mahama to get involved.
Exactly. Why are we like
In
that?
Nigeria, before they left, it took
No, you know that
it took Ahmed Tinubu to get involved
You
and order them to pay the Nigerian
Look,
players
Vince,
every
you don't get my
outstanding
point.
bonus.
I'm saying, why is it that when it's us, it always has to reach the president to do something before something must happen?
Because see, listen, let me tell you. It's because of the way the political setup is in African countries. Ultimate power. Somebody has to make the shot. Because it always comes down to we don't have money. If you don't have money,
Where's the
who
money
always
coming
tells you, who always tells you that? You see, because the thing is, the African FAs don't pay their money.
Mhm.
It's the central government
Yeah.
through the Ministry of Youth
Fair
and
enough.
Sport. So every time the ministry says they don't have money, the money has to come from maybe the finance ministry.
Yeah.
In the case of Gambia, it's the finance ministry. For money to come from the finance ministry, it has to take the intervention of the president, because a sports minister can't just call the finance ministry and say, send me money, let me pay players. Well, no, why?
No, but you see, the point is,
so it's a setup of the system.
It is disappointing because you knew you would be at the AFCON.
Yes.
So in prepping for the AFCON, what were the instructions from the presidency to the finance ministry to the sports ministry? I agree. Maybe the sports minister in some countries, in most countries, are more powerful than the finance ministry.
Yeah.
But that's the purse of the country.
Yeah.
But you knew the team was going to go to the AFCON. You knew the budget. You knew they were standing.
You knew you owed them.
Absolutely. So
they qualified not today.
Why must the president then wait to step in at the last hour when
I'll tell you why.
Way before.
I'll tell you why. It's the deception. Oh, don't worry, we'll pay you. Said they didn't anticipate that they will go and strike. Thank you. So it's like, it's the same thing with the blaster. It's no different though. It's like, the money will come. You go. So what the players did was drastic. So it would take a drastic intervention.
So now that the president has instructed them to pay, has the country collapsed?
No.
Which means they could have avoided this.
I know now, man, come, but you're not listening to me. They don't want to
I feel you. I'm just saying that
It's just poor preparation.
It's just poor
Exactly.
preparation and lack of respect for these athletes.
I agree.
Because these politicians, Omusika came, their monies are always available. Their gracious are available. Their monies for their cars are available. But why would it then be for the athletes?
And look at the performance of Gambia the last time out, at the last AFCON. That was their very first AFCON. Maybe that of the group.
Yeah.
Got a hero's welcome. Come back home. You don't want to pay them qualification. Speaking of bonus issues, my favorite story so far for this AFCON has to be Equatorial Guinea. If you don't know the story, I'll tell you the story.
Break it down, man.
Equatorial Guinean players say that their central government must pay them qualification bonuses for booking a spot at the AFCON. On top of that, and they want that money now. I think it's like 16,000 euros or something like that.
Per player.
Yeah, per player for qualifying, right? And then, this is my favorite demand. They said at the AFCON, they want to be paid $6,000 per game. Wait for it, irrespective of the outcome.
It's cash out season.
Are you surprised?
It's cash out season.
Are you surprised?
That's hard demand.
Ever since they hosted the tournament, and then I think they won a game or so, they haven't. They even struggled to qualify for the competition, and they're here now. The players know.
There was one I thought they were there
last time around.
Yeah,
they were there last time
around.
Yeah. And it caused a bit of an upset.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it seems like an odd demand.
Yeah.
Given that they don't care about the
irrespective of the results,
money.
it's not a reward then.
But when you look at it holistically, it's basically the concept of appearance fee. Basically, so they are basically saying, give us 18,000 euros for going to the AFCON. Now, the 16,000 is for qualifying.
Yeah.
And for
18,
going to play, it's like the Ghanaian players, they always give them...
You're saying 18,000 because in your head, they're playing 3 matches and they're coming home.
No. Yeah, they'll play minimum 3 games, irrespective of the result. But the point is, how is that for most African states? Most of them don't have a plan where it's take it or leave it, where there is a clear way of paying national team players. There's a clear figure. So before you became...
It's an agreed upon contract.
You
know that once you are part
before
of
you
the
became
team,
an international, that was what was there. So it doesn't matter if you are now a Mane or now a Kudus or now a Salah.
Nobody cares.
That is what the Ghanaian national team or the Senegalese national team or the Pharaohs do.
I have a question.
You need that.
Do you think that national teams should sign professional contracts with national team players for like when you go, so where it is agreed and written on contract that for every qualifying match, this is the amount of money you get paid. Or you could say for every qualification to a major tournament, i.e. AFCON and the World Cup, you get paid this amount of money. And then when you go to the competition, you'll be paid based on match basis. And then so that you put it pen to paper, so they stop demanding all kinds of... I think in Ghana's case, it's always pre-agreed, isn't it?
Yeah. How about as soon as you send the invitation to the player, all these conditions you've mentioned are attached to it.
If you
So
agree.
accepting
Yes.
the invitation means you agree to what you're saying. So, for instance, if for the AFCON, every player is going to earn, let's just say hypothetically, $10,000 as appearance fee.
Yes.
However, if you win a game, you are going to earn an extra 10,000 per every game that you win. That is included in your invitational, letter. As soon as you accept the invitation to play for the Black Stars at the AFCON, it binds you to the financial benefits that you. That stops it, isn't it?
I think
That's a very good idea.
What about the not paying Betway? How does that still doesn't stop the FAs from not paying? Because that's always the issue. The issue is always promise and not pay.
Then the players can say, pay me up front. Yes, I'm coming appearance fee. I've accepted. So up front, quick.
Quick, before I come and kick a ball. Simple.
I don't. You see, I think for most people or for some people watching us, they might not understand why the concept of money is so important to African footballers. This issue has to be discussed holistically.
Yeah.
Most often, like you never hear these issues in Europe or in South America, and people are always like, why are African players so insistent on money? Isn't the national team a matter of pride? I'll just tell you this very simply. It's because, to be fair, you see only a handful of African players actually make it to leagues where they get paid a decent amount of money for a living. Okay? Majority of the players don't play in leagues where they get paid a decent salary. So what they actually earn from the national team
It's very
Substantial.
significant. Yeah.
it is
need it.
is their whole life. It is their whole life. It's more or less like where, for example, women's football is in maybe Ghana. It is how national team football is in Equatorial Guinea.
Yeah.
Because for women's football in Ghana, the players play, some of them play professional football abroad, but they play for clubs that don't really pay them a lot of money. Some of them get paid like $800 a month salary, but that is still way more than anything they would ever get playing in Ghana. But when they come to the national team and they play and qualify for one under-20 World Cup, they say each player is owed maybe something in the region of $6,000.
That's a lot.
It is a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So the national team represents for them a professional dream that is also a financial gateway
Yeah.
for most of these players. So it is not, and that is why.
And then the other thing too is cultural.
Yes.
We Africans live in big communities. So when Sadio Mane makes his money, it's not for him and his nuclear family.
That is true.
It's for him and his extended family and the village.
That is true.
When Asamoah Gyan makes the money, it is not for Asamoah Gyan and the Jans.
No.
It is for Asamoah Gyan and the Jan's wives and cousins.
So
and
every
cousins.
penny counts.
So every penny counts.
Thank you.
You don't hear that Trent Alexander-Arnold's community needs him to lift their stand because they are fairly comfortable. But that one single breadwinner from the village in Esuboy or from the village in Peje,
Yeah.
you've become, your money transcends your nuclear family. So in Europe,
Money
you
is
earn your,
it's an excellent example.
yeah, in Europe, you earn your money, so you and your wife and your little girls and boys and your friends, really.
Yeah.
But
You see, that,
in
that,
Africa, it's a
that,
different
that
thing
answers
altogether.
the question why even the guys who from afar seem to be earning some substantial amount of money still insist
Yeah.
on getting the bonuses
Yeah.
when they come to the
Yes,
the national
yes,
teams.
yes.
Because every penny counts.
Yes.
Every single penny counts.
Yeah.
So some
Interesting.
of these things you really can't blame them.
Yeah, interesting. One more topic. Andre Onana. Listen, I don't understand. Listen, and for United fans watching this, don't hate me for it, for what I'm about to say. But seriously, he's staying back. Is he really helping you? Is he helping you guys? I don't get it. So, first of all, he gets named in the squad. We were told he would join up with the squad, but he would stay with United for as long as he wants. In fact, we were told he would play against Spurs. Then he is supposed to leave that very day after the game, go and then feature in Cameroon's first game the next day on Monday against Guinea. Now we are told, no, that's not going to happen. He will miss the first game altogether. I don't get it. I feel like that is and I don't understand what's going on with the Cameroon national team. I don't think they lack goalkeepers. I don't think Onana is that great. They should get rid of him.
Look, even if he was the best in the world, there are some things that principle must. You can't sidestep it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the biggest competition in Africa. The best player in the Premier League is Mohamed Salah. He was part of the first batch of players who left to come to the AFCON.
Yes.
Every single Premier League team that signs an African player knows that in January every 2 years, those players will not be available. When Manchester United were signing the contract with Onana, they knew that there was a possibility that in January the guy will go. So this is just, look, it's a huge insult to the African game. And for me, Onana is not doing himself any good. And I'm really surprised that Cameroon are taking this nonsense. Because
And they agreed
in
to
2017, he was one of the guys who, that time he wasn't even anybody.
Yeah.
He followed the big boys and decided he won't come. They went on to win. The shenanigans he pulled off at the World Cup.
He was sacked from the camp.
Retired from international football. Then he comes back, was it early last year? Says he's back. Okay, fine. Then they bring him, he's doing this again, and you are allowing it to continue? No. And it doesn't set a very good precedent to the rest of the squad. Because I'm training every day as a second choice goalkeeper. And when another comes, he's come to walk into the pool. Who is he? Seriously speaking, look at his form this season. And now for Manchester United. You bought a Turkish goalkeeper. What was it? It was like the last week of the transfer window.
Yeah.
You bought a Turkish goalkeeper. You've made an agreement with Cameroon that Onana will play the Spurs game and then he will go.
Yes.
But against Wigan, in an FA Cup game, you are still using Onana. So you don't trust your second keeper to the point that he's not made a single appearance this season.
No.
We've not seen him. We don't even know how he looks like in the jersey. We don't know how
Whether it fits or it doesn't
whether
fit.
it fits or not. We don't even know his glove size. But you bought the goalkeeper.
We don't know if he's short or tall.
We don't know. The pictures can be deceiving, so we need to see him on the pitch to know who exactly he is. But against Wigan in an FA Cup game, you don't deem it fit for him to play. The 2 Carabao Cup games United played, they didn't think it would make sense to try him out and see.
Especially at the time when Onana was struggling even.
Thank you. When Onana, he's still struggling. It's not the time when he's still struggling.
He's not struggling.
He's still struggling. So
I
my
don't even
point
think
is,
he's
look,
stopping them by staying.
if Liverpool was pulling this stunt with Salah,
You might
it
understand.
is still wrong,
Yes.
but you can understand because he means so much to what they are doing. But Onana, Boga, if I train for 3 weeks with Olele, Onana doesn't do safe. He's just kicking. He can't catch. He's just
passes.
kicking. I can 40 yards, 50 yards. And you give me gloves.
No, but
I can't know what he's
To be
doing.
fair, before he came to the national team, his cousin is Fabrice Ondoa.
Yeah.
He was doing a fantastic job.
Look, it's so disrespectful. And you see, what I don't like, I don't like about what is happening is the conversation around the AFCON. It's all, every time an AFCON is approaching us.
There's always this.
We always have this conversation in the European leagues. Is it necessary? Why some players have to leave? The impact it has on them. Meanwhile, they know when they are signing the players. And you see, we've had some players stand up and boldly say, look, they are not, when it's AFCON, leave me. Salah has shown it. Mane has shown it. Osimhen has shown it. These are the big people, the African players in Europe who, the African players who are extremely important. And Onana, unfortunately, because of what he's doing, he's part of them. He's part of the guys who have gained that pedigree. Yes. But he's now helping the narrative that the AFCON, because
it's
seriously,
an inconvenience.
if the first day of the season in the Premier League was Sunday and Cameroon had a competition they were playing, is he telling us that you wait till Cameroon and come the night before Man United is supposed to open the season
and expect to start?
No. So why would you do that to your national team?
Yeah, I think. Listen, I look at it from, to be fair to Man United, at the time they were signing Onana, he had retired. He has still retired.
Had he? In the summer? When did he rescind the decision?
Oh, only recently, somewhere in September also.
Really?
Yeah. There were always rumors he was going to go back. So United were not sure if he was going to be there, but he actually
I have a question.
it.
Are you saying United would have changed their mind about signing him
Possibly.
if he wasn't retired by then?
Possibly.
They were not even sure.
I'm not sure.
And signed who?
But
It didn't look like they had other options.
No. Well, at
It
the
was
time,
like Onana or Bat.
at the time, Silva of Portugal Silva of FC Porto was in consideration, and David Raya now with Arsenal was also Onana wasn't the only goalkeeper they were looking for. But surely once he became available, and Inter Milan would take the money because of their financial problems, United felt especially Ten Hag felt he knew Onana and could help the way he built up. So to be fair to United, they didn't know Onana was going to go, but that is no excuse, especially when you know eventually he will leave now. And as Danny says, when you have a second goalkeeper you've not tried, an opportunity of the FA Cup comes.
FA Cup.
It is probably the most sensible way of easing him into the team. Yep. Because you don't want to ease him into the team in the most difficult circumstances.
That is not even easing anymore. That is just throwing him into the deep end.
You're throwing him into it. Now, if you're a good manager, even if Onana is available, he's not going anywhere. These are the games you want to see your second goalkeeper perform. Liverpool have trusted their second goalkeeper. Kelleher, who knew Kelleher? Nobody knew how good he could be. In fact, Adrian was the second goalkeeper, and then Klopp trusted Kelleher to be better than him. And now he's got his opportunity in the cup games. When you've bought a goalkeeper in the summer in which you brought Onana, for me, it makes no sense that you don't give the goalkeeper the opportunity, especially when you know the Onana won't be there for a period. You start prepping this goalkeeper for when Onana is not around. As we speak, he wouldn't have had any preparation with competitive fixtures until Onana leaves and there's no option than he gets into the post. Yeah. The other side is Cameroon. You see, Eto'o has always said Onana is his son. Eto'o has always said Onana is his son. There's that weird connection between him and the FA president. And Eto'o has question marks about the way he's managing the Cameroonian FA.
Of course.
And it's disappointing because for a player who always preached discipline and high standards, and he actually, Enrico Besson, showed an immense affection for the Cameroonian national team. So for them to be sitting and watching a player choosing the club to this level over Cameroon at this time, I don't get it. And the thing is, Onana not turning up for pre-tournament camping is crazy.
Yep.
Because it downplays or undermines the essence of pre-tournament camping.
And his own teammates, to be fair.
Yeah, and his own teammates, for sure, because you need to be in that camp. You need to soak in instruction. You need to train and prepare with the team and then get into the tournament. But Onana has not done that. But even the broader picture is, it sets a horrible precedent for all African players who will be playing in Europe, especially England, in the foreseeable future. Because now, when they are signing these African players, they can start talking to the FAs and telling them that, well, we saw Onana, he joined Cameroon and it was okay, he could play. It's only a matter of time before an FA is telling your FA that they are going to release an important player to you 2 days to the tournament because it's been done before. And it was done by a big country, by a big player. So the precedence, it's certain, it's horrible. And for Man United in Cameroon, and Onana himself, they've absolutely not managed this one. It's a shame.
I don't know, man. Andre Onana. Sort yourself out, bro. In 2022 January, you know who Edouard Mendy was by then?
Yeah.
Best UEFA goalkeeper. Yeah. He was a Champions League winner. He was everything. Yeah. He left it all behind. He goes to the AFCON. And what happened? He won, you know. And so, Onana, please, we beg you. Andre, all right, we've seen better. In fact, he's not even the best ball playing Onana in the Premier League, is he?
Who? That shock. He just hit me.
He just hit you, right? He's not the best ball playing Onana.
The guy has been going long to Garnacho, and I wonder how he wants Garnacho to compete for area balls.
That Onana plays for Everton.
He handles the ball better than...
brother.
No, the funny thing is the 2017 thing. 2017,
he joined Mate, Choupo-Moting,
all the big
boys. He won't play.
Those boys.
The guys who went have got an
anyway, okay. Let's talk about football itself. The surrounding issues plenty, but it's AFCON. Ghana also have their issues, but I don't want us to go there.
Let's talk about the Kente and the jumper.
What did you make of it?
Oh no, I love it. It was beautiful.
The Kente.
11 months ago, 12 months ago, 13 really, for the World Cup. They went in the smoke. The Batakaria smoke.
Yes.
And that represented the northern part of Ghana really well. We've barely had our national team represent that culture from that side of the country. This time it's a blend of Ewe and Ashanti. Because Ashantis normally go with only the cloth.
Yeah,
the Ewes would go with a jumper. But once you see the Kente, what comes to the Ghanaian mind is Ashanti. Even though when you go to the Volta region, we also weave it there. But when you see the jumper, it's a complete blend. And it was stylish. And it was a real teaser from the modern set. Because the initial picture we saw was just the jumper. And it was like, well, not bad, but really.
To be fair, one guy that I was on a show with, Nathaniel Atto, fashionista. the moment he saw the picture, we're talking about the picture,
Yeah.
and I was on a show with a Nigerian who said they look like prison inmates. He didn't understand the whole short idea.
Yeah.
Nat was like, he was really smart. He said, you know what? This thing,
Mm.
once you go to Volta region, when they dress like that, it's usually a kente on
Kente
top.
on
So
top,
I'm
yeah.
not sure why they don't have the kente.
You know what gave
And
them
boom,
away?
he was right.
You know what gave them away? Because they were wearing the ahinema.
Yeah.
You
And that was-
suspected the kente was
once
coming,
I
right?
saw that,
Once
if they
you
were
wear
wearing
the
anything
ahinema-
else,
Then it means that's a complete fit.
but once they were wearing the ahinema with the jumper,
And there was something
I knew
extra
something
coming.
was missing.
Ahinema being the leather sandals.
The leather sandals, yeah. I just knew something was missing. I just didn't know if the kente would eventually come. And once they dropped out of the plane, boy, colorful.
Man, tire! Charlie, I tire!
No, he's tired. No, but seriously speaking, you spoke about the smoke. You spoke about we've just spoken about the kente. The effort and preparation we put into branding our players when they arrive for competitions. If we can channel that effort, well, I'm just, what
we
is
have
funny?
won the fashion AFCON.
Relax. If we can channel that energy
We have won the
into
fashion
fixing
AFCON.
our facilities here,
Yeah.
you understand? So that the players can prepare properly here without complaining about facilities. You look at the grass, the first training session in Cote d'Ivoire,
Only here, just around the corner here.
and compare it to the grass at the Baba Yara Stadium, a national stadium versus a training stadium in Cote d'Ivoire. And it's here now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the past, we have used weather as an excuse. Meanwhile, we have the same weather as
As
Cote
Cote
d'Ivoire.
d'Ivoire.
So
And
there's
I'm
something
happy
is
about
wrong
it.
with
I just
that.
really hope that
Please
it
don't
holds
mention Peter Chumesi's name.
during the competition.
Because if you mention Peter Chumesi...
But you're the one mentioning the guys.
Okay,
Nobody has
sorry.
mentioned his name.
Okay.
You're the one pampering his name.
No, okay, sorry.
You know. And the last AFCON, apart from some of the poor games in quality we saw, I thought the pitches were not great in Cameroon. The pitches were not holding up well.
Yeah.
I just hope that these ones we've seen in Cote d'Ivoire, which looks very good after the first game, second games, they hold up really well because for a team like Algeria, they went out of the group stages and they were poor at times. But a lot of the things that went against them was the poor nature of the pitch they played on. Nothing will stick for them.
And to be fair, especially at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium, there were issues back in, I think, was it September or was it June? When they played a friendly game and it rained against Mali.
Yeah.
They had to abandon the
It wasn't
match
holding,
because... but I think later CAF came out to address that and said it was more to do with the maintenance issue rather than the drainage issue. And they've since
Drainage more choky.
they've since played another game there, and
it
seemed
Did it
fine.
rain?
That's another good question. I don't think it
I just hope it
I don't
holds up
think it
because
rained on that day.
it's everything about quality that pitches.
But the other places were tested with the Women's Champions League. Korogo and
San
It
Pedro.
looked really good.
Yeah,
Looked
Korogo
really
and Boake were
Boake were
tested with
tested,
the
yeah.
Women's Champions League, and it looks really good indeed. Speaking of which, I'm glad that we are on that topic. But do we agree that we've won the Fashion World
Oh,
Cup?
we've won.
What Fashion AFCON? Did you see? But
No, you see,
initially, I didn't like the Nigerian outfit. But when they got down
No, I
and they took pictures standing up, and the,
Yeah, I
the
like
dresses were not creasing,
no, that's where the problem was for me.
I absolutely loved it.
I like the fit, the hat, the kaftan,
Yeah.
the half shoe. The half shoe.
It's because
I like the
white-
effort they put into
The
the
white half shoe.
You know,
just
there was
makes the
embroidery
thing.
of the players'
Yeah.
initials.
yeah, I think what the Nigerians wore was the 2-piece of Agbada.
Mhm.
It wasn't the full
It
piece.
wasn't the full 3-piece.
It wasn't a full.
It wasn't the
three-piece.
full 3-piece.
Do you think there was a third piece?
No.
Or they just did it with that.
It's a 3-piece you can wear with a 2-piece. And normally they like to go with it with a half shoe. I'm not a big fan of half shoes. But when they've won the Agbada,
I don't understand the concept of half shoe.
Yeah,
No, you don't get
it's weird.
Like, what is the concept of half shoe?
If the half
you don't
shoe,
like this,
if
you
the
don't like
half
the
shoe
back
was
of
even
your.
black, like that's cool.
Yeah.
But that white,
Yeah.
Charlie, no. White half
Wait.
shoe.
What is the concept of half shoe?
What's the point?
Easy wear. It's an easy official wear.
So wear sandals.
Thank you.
No. When you wear sandals, it's a lot more casual than half shoe because your toes are not covered. But however, when you wear a half shoe, depending upon the attire with which you wear it with, it can be more formal than it.
So a half shoe.
I'm not a big fan of.
Speaking of,
So half shoe basically means I love my heel, watch my heel, but I don't like my toes.
speaking of half shoes, Charlie, I went for this Christmas party a couple of weeks ago, and This guy wore shorts and half shoe. And they were playing this one of Hammer's songs. And it was time for floor works. Charlie, the guy they take the half shoe to do floor work. Charlie, and sparks you. Charlie sparks the time for Charlie. He's for there.
We can agree Senegal was nothing fussy, simple, captain.
Yeah, simple, straightforward.
Really nice.
Yeah.
They have the trophy. What are you going to do there?
Why? Exactly.
That's from Morocco.
They can dress in the
They just dress spotty.
It's not just them. Morocco and Egypt, they
spotty.
came in.
Even Algeria.
Yeah, they're not
that is a definition of, you know what? It's like Jurgen Klopp says, I have no time to put on a suit. No fast. No, we are here for business. But my favorite outfit of all, you know where I'm going? Guinea.
Yeah, that was
for the pictures.
Yes. Did you see the Guinea outfit?
It was a full, wasn't it?
Yes.
Full, yeah.
It looked like they were going to marry. Yo, that was massive, man. That was massive. I felt like they overdid it, but yeah, shout out to everyone in Guinea. That was superb.
Your kente and jumper, you didn't overdo it, but somebody's.
So you know, you said
somebody where I'm telling you say tire.
I did gym tire.
But speaking of which, Charlie, did you see when Capito dropped?
No, but that was
the aura, bro.
Yeah.
There is star and there's star.
So there's something about. I mean, all of us have been around the Black Stars team before India comes sometimes. There's something about Andre Ayew. Say whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
But when the team has gathered and he steps out or you see him and you don't know anything about football, nobody tells you he's the leader of the team. He just has this whole leadership thing and whole aura and this like the
he was born with it, right?
This whole thing about him that is just bossy, you know, and he looked amazing in it.
Yeah,
you know,
fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. The Black Stars are in town. Let's talk about the games coming up itself. Okay. The first game obviously is Cote d'Ivoire and of course Guinea-Bissau. Opening match of the tournament on Saturday. Important to start the competition well. Cote d'Ivoire always with superstars. Fantastic trio of attackers. Max Gradel is still there at the age of 36. Sebastian Haller has not scored for Dortmund this season, but he's still a key member of that squad. Then they've got Jeremy Boga. That is some fantastic front three if they're going to play Boga or anybody at all that they choose
Simon
to.
Adingra, the Brighton.
Simon Adingra is there.
They have guys. Even Nicolas Pepe. Even Nicolas Pepe, when he puts on the Ivory Coast.
Is that an easy, breezy game, do you think?
Look, Ivory Coast are my personal favorites for the competition.
Okay.
I think they have not just the most exciting squad, but for the first time in a long time, they have a complete squad. And especially in the midfield areas. In previous competition, they've had the names, but they've been very similar players. This time around, I think it's slowly beginning to come together. Complementary players who are on the top of their game. So and they are one of those teams that they can play under pressure. If you remember the last AFCON, they had to beat Algeria on the last day to guarantee qualification. And that was their best performance. Yeah. They just turned it up. They just know how to do it. When you go to previous AFCONs, the finals, they're a team that they know how to embrace the pressure. And for me, playing at home, they're already a very different animal when they are playing at home. So it comes with huge advantages for them. And I think, unlike Cameroon 2 years ago, I think they will start the competition in style. I think they are going to treat us with some very good football. And I'll not be surprised if they get a goal margin of more than 3.
Interesting. They have one of the most exciting young defenders in world football right now. Ousmane Diomande, Sporting Lisbon. Fantastic ball playing centre back. Cote d'Ivoire's problem that the last AFCON was their defending.
The goalkeeping.
Oh, drama. Oh my God. I can't believe you went there.
No, seriously.
That day, his father had died.
That clip is still in my... He had made mistakes previous. It's not like it was just
the very day his father had died.
Yeah, that's true. but it's
But
not
he
like
had become error prone.
Yeah, it's not like-
I don't even think he knew about his father before the game.
I think it was after.
post
I
the
think it was
game.
after, yeah.
And he
Oh,
horribly
God.
injured his knee as well.
Yeah.
I mean, after
Yeah.
that, so.
You know why the clip is still in my head? When he dropped the ball and the striker came for it, like he made this
Attempt,
like
and then he just realized that
he just
no.
looks like he's like, hey,
Oh, God.
this is so funny for me.
But Sicho, important to start well.
No, it is important to start well. And
Yeah.
even for the tournament, I said, listen, sometimes you are biased towards hosts because you want the tournament to have this feel about it.
Mhm.
And if they start well, it's good for the tournament itself because the
Yeah.
fans will be, Cote d'Ivoire will absolutely be buzzing.
Yep.
And it can carry through the rest of the tournament. Meanwhile, Equatorial Guinea are not under any pressure whatsoever, right?
Mhm.
And they will be looking to cause upsets when they can. But when you look at the strength, as Danny has mentioned, of Cote d'Ivoire, in midfield, they are very strong. They've got quite a number of combinations. They've got Frank Kessie, they've got Seko Fofana,
Yeah.
who plays with Cristiano Ronaldo in Al Nassr, Jean-Michel Sarri,
Sangare.
you know, Sangare is there. So they've got a certain level of quality that can match any team on the continent.
True.
And in attack, they've got amazing. Simon Dean guys had his own injury worries coming into the tournament,
Yeah.
but he's still a handful, right? You mentioned Nicola Pepe, who is also brilliant. So I think that they've got what it takes, in certain areas of the game to hurt opponents. And of course, with the crowd behind them, can they go all the way? But we know that historically, in the last 2 decades or so, when teams have hosted the competition, they've never really gone on to win it.
In
And
fact,
will
the
Cote
last
d'Ivoire
team-
break that jinx?
Yeah, the last team to host and win the AFCON was Egypt in
Yeah.
2006. So
Yeah.
that is
That was the last time that happened. So there's something about hosts
And
and
then-
not winning it. You wonder if Cote d'Ivoire can
Yeah.
override that.
And then before that was the AFCON before that,
Tunisia.
2004 when Tunisia hosted.
Yeah.
And then
But
won.
you see, to be fair, since 2006, we've not really had host nations who are very strong.
We had Ghana in 2008. They were strong.
Cameroon
Yeah,
didn't win in Cameroon.
Cameroon didn't win in Cameroon.
Egypt didn't win in Egypt.
Egypt. That's all.
And those
But
are
the rest, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea.
I'm gonna say,
South
they were,
Africa.
Gabon and Equatorial Guinea hosted 2 editions. That's it. The rest of them
No,
were
2017
hosted by
was when?
Equatorial Guinea.
2017.
the 2015
Was
they
co-hosting.
co-hosted. Then
Yeah.
Gabon hosted
Then
alone
Gabon hosting
in
alone.
2017.
Alone. Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you look at all of the hosts from all the previous AFCON, let me even go back as far back as say 2000 when Ghana and Nigeria co-hosted. 2 strong teams
Yeah.
were on paper. Ghana didn't have a good team. Nigeria did. Went to the final, got beaten by Cameroon.
Yeah.
2002 Mali. At the time, Mali's team wasn't that great, but they still had a chance. Nobody would have been screaming, "Oh, what a shocker!" if they won.
Yeah.
But they didn't. All right. Then you come 2004, Tunisia hosted 1, Egypt
won
hosted 06 and 1.
And in Ghana,
08 Ghana should have won.
could have won.
Could have
Should
won. They
Should have.
Exactly.
I don't think they had a better team than Egypt. I think the
so
best
I
team
do,
won.
yeah. So I do agree though that 2010
Cote
Angola
d'Ivoire were
will
better.
win.
Ghana
No,
will-
we'll have that.
Yeah.
We'll have that
We'll have
conversation.
that
But I do
conversation.
agree though.
That was the team that won the AFCON 3 times in a row. They were just better than everybody else.
If ASEAN had played in midfield against Cameroon, we were beating them for fun. If we had gone to that final against Egypt, we were beating them for fun.
I just don't think there was any team. I don't even think that Africa could have assembled Africa's 11 to beat that Egyptian machine under Shahata. I just thought they played a brand of football Africans were not used to.
It didn't matter the players.
Yeah,
And the
they were
3
just-
AFCONs
they were
went
very-
through 2 different generations
Yeah,
of players.
they were just
And they were
at the time they were playing like the European football that we're not accustomed to, and they had a mix of everything. Too much
Yeah.
pace, too much technical ability. They didn't rely so much on strength. They were not as bullish as the current Egyptian team.
And
They
you
were
believe
just
this,
skillful.
the 06 team that won the AFCON, by the time they won the 2010 AFCON, I think about 6 players
Yeah,
from the 06
was-
team. They had
Different
gone
year.
through.
yeah,
Different
they'd got- yeah.
Yeah.
And that is
Wow.
why in 2010 they were not as sharp and aesthetically
Pleasing as
beautiful to see
2016.
as in 2006 and 2008. And in fact, the AFCON that followed, they didn't qualify for it.
Interesting.
But that was very different.
Yeah, that was a very different scenario. But
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. All right, so Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea-Bissau setting us off fantastic. Guys, Another big game for me. This is one of the games of the group. I don't care what anybody says, but Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, whatever game Nigeria plays, for me, I'm always like, I want to watch because there's always some story there. Whether Francis Uzoho is doing his things. Adanike, why are you laughing? But speaking of Nigeria, they have their own issues, but they have talent everywhere. Why is it not coming together? How are they going to do it? Because every tournament they go in as one of those teams that must win it, but it never comes together. How will they come together this time around? The magic one, Jose Pesero.
How will it come? It won't come.
Oh, how?
It won't come together.
Oh, come on.
No,
man.
Nigeria won't win. Look,
they have reigning African Footballer of the Year.
It won't change anything.
Victor Osimhen.
Look, they have serious
Ademola
problems.
Lookman is.
You see, that's the thing. Most people outside Nigeria look at the squad list, look at the quality, and say, "Ish, these guys are good." But if you watch them throughout the qualifiers, if you watch their friendly games, they have serious, massive problems.
They scored the most goals in
the guys didn't they struggle when they like Ghana who needed to guarantee their qualification on the last day. Have you seen them in their preparation games?
They even beat Satomi 10-0.
If you even go back to the World Cup qualification throughout that time, up until now, look, there's just something about this Nigeria team. And for me, I have a theory, but let me start with what I think. Their midfield has serious problems.
Non-existent, honestly.
Yeah, they have like 2. And because of that, they've needed certain players to fill in. Indeed, he's injured, which will seriously go against them because he's one of 2. If he's not there, then I really don't know. I know Onyeka is in the team, but he himself, in terms of freshness, in terms of fitness, he doesn't get too much playing time at Brentford. So coming into this,
has to play there.
Iwobi has to play there, but thankfully for Iwobi, he's slotted in that role over the past 2-3 years, even in club football. Yeah. So he's played around with it, but it's not the same. It's really not the same. The likes of Aribo and Co. And because of their lack of central midfielders, they have been, if you remember, since Ogwavon, they've been playing a 4-4-2 because of the lack of players in that position.
More like 4-2-4 in my opinion.
More like a 4-2-4 because the guys out wide are very attacking. And fundamentally, it will always go against you. If you meet decent opposition, it will go against you. And for me, that is where the problem is. Also, I think they are very similar to Ghana in the sense that when it comes to the players who've naturalized, I don't really think they understand what it means to play for the Super Eagles.
How many of them are in the team right now?
Quite a number of them.
Troost is still there.
Can
Iwobi be considered one of those?
Iwobi can. He didn't have a Nigerian upbringing, even though he has strong Nigerian ties.
Yeah,
but he was always a London boy.
Yeah, but his uncle.
Yeah. So strong Nigerian ties.
Yeah, but as in growing up watching your uncle will still give you that. When you wear that Super Eagles, just you know what it means.
It's a UK, but it's a UK kid, kind of.
But you see, that has also sort of worried them a bit. And for me, it's just when you look at the talent on paper, it just doesn't correspond with the type of football that they play. And of course, coaching can also be an issue. But honestly, I really don't see them going 5. For me, I honestly think their last stop is a round of 16.
Really?
Yeah.
Opening game against Equatorial Guinea. Chasam.
Look, Nigeria have a problem that I think they would have to be deliberate about fixing it.
Yes.
If you look beyond the pool of the players that have been invited, who are the creative midfielders that they could have invited that are not in the squad? There are not many. Mm-hmm. Going into this tournament, the hope was that Victor Boniface will become that binding agent, that adhesive that will bring everything into play. Yeah. The centre forward who could drop deep and combine with his teammates, but also be able or have the technical ability to, in the final third, be able to do the things that matter, the sort of things that you cannot teach, that your intuition has to provide for you. Without him, it's difficult to see who in that Nigerian team can do that. Unfortunately for Nigeria, they are not in the situation where you are Morocco or Algeria, to some extent Tunisia, who have a lot of these players who were born in France. And so have their education in the French football system. So there is a direct and deliberate attempt to influence the talents that is being developed and determine what kind of profile the player becomes. So if he's a defender, if he's a midfielder, right? I'm not sure how many of those academies, like Right to Dream Academy we have in Ghana, or these days Accra Lions, right, that they have in Nigeria, that you could say will be able to a certain extent, offset that deficit in terms of technical education. Because it's been glaring. What we're seeing now, apart from the JJ Okocha himself, era, Papilo Kano, who really are the creative Nigerian central midfielders of genuine quality that have got match-winning ability, not just in terms of chipping in the goals.
You may even say that maybe Mikel was the last one, perhaps.
And how long has it been since he burst onto the scene? Right?
Since he left the scene.
Yes. So probably, and his production must have happened 2000, 2001 maximum, or latest by 2003. So we're talking in excess of 2 decades.
So how are they getting the goal scorers and not the midfielders?
Which also tells you that they are leaving everything to chance. So what God has blessed them with, the natural talents that they have, is what it is. So if you find yourself in France, you have your education, the national team will come and pick you, just like we do down here in Ghana. There is no deliberate attempt to influence the talents that is being developed. And just as Danny has said, I think what has been happening in the last 3 AFCONs is going to repeat itself in the sense that you can tell the potential in the team, but you need a binding agent in the middle of the pack. Someone who will be the brains of the operation and be able to find the extra pass, calm the game down. And you see, when Nigeria won the AFCON in 2013, Mikel didn't have to do too much, but he was essentially the extension of the coach's authority in that pitch, in the sense that he could control the temperature of the game. He knew the limitations of the team. And so when they needed to recoil, when they needed to slow the game down, he could offer that. When he needed to play that final ball, he could offer that. Who is that kind of player in that Nigerian team now?
Fair. Their goalkeeping. We know what... What's this?
Why you laugh? Why you laughing?
Why are you
laughing at professional goalkeepers?
I'm even shocked because you see, we cannot.
When you said the goal, do you see your reaction? You know what you did.
Your own reaction came.
You know what you did.
Yeah.
You just were able to control yourself better than I did.
The history tells us you can't win the AFCON without a good goal.
Yes.
Listen, they've got.
It's not possible.
They've got goalkeeping problems, and throughout the whole year, and it's not
even defensive problems because the Onyimbo ball no longer exists.
But the point is, unfortunately for Nigeria, it's the goalkeeping problem is a problem they couldn't have fixed in the last year because no proper Nigerian goalkeeper popped up from anywhere. So it was a matter of using what you know and knowing the problems it comes with and trying and hoping that those problems don't
pick your poison.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so they have massive goalkeeping problems. And as you said, it's an extension of the defense. But I think the poor goalkeeping problem that they have has affected those in front of them. Because when you are confident about the goalkeeper behind you, it gives you the liberty to be more expressive because you're not too worried about what is at your back. But when you start wondering, what if the ball gets past me? What is going to happen behind me? It keeps you in 2 minds. You're not even too sure whether to commit into something else. If we look at the Nigerian team, and as gentlemen said, they've got problems in midfield. And structurally, I'm still surprised Nigeria have not tried to exploit that. A back 3 that allows them to have 4 bodies in midfield. Yep. Because if they play the back 3, they've got very good wing backs. Sanusi is a very good wing back. Ola Aina is a very good wing back. The good thing is they're also very comfortable in central areas because of the way they play. They've not got Ndidi. Probably going to see Onyeka and if like Aribo or Iwobi playing midfield. That if you're going to play 4-2-4 or 4-4-2 in those central areas with typical wingers who might not necessarily, I don't know Luke is not going to offer you so much defensively.
I think the problem with their wingers
Chukwueze won't offer you so much defensively.
But Sisho,
so if
that back 3 that you're suggesting,
it
has thrived when you've got at least one of 2 profiles. So a midfield carrier with the ball, or someone who's naturally inventive.
Yeah.
Nigeria don't have either.
No, I think Iwobi is not bad. If
So you're going to risk...
Or Aribo is not bad at it. What I'm actually trying to get Nigeria to avoid is honestly expand. And in fact, the last AFCON, the one time their midfield was out of place against Tunisia. It was from a throw-in.
Yeah.
Tunisia had a throw-in. They spread the ball to the far side, and by the time the midfield recovered, Insakni had scored. Now, if they get that 4 across midfield, and they have 3 of the attackers, maybe Osimhen, Mosi Simon, it could be Lukman or Chukwueze. They're good enough to cause problems. But what happens then is that they've got 4 bodies in midfield to protect or to limit the problems they've got in the limitations they've got in midfield.
I think the key to Nigeria doing well at this AFCON is supplying Osimhen. It's one of the things they have suffered from.
He's often looked isolated.
Yes,
in a lot of
and very frustrated.
But let me ask you guys this. Do you really think Osimhen is a striker who thrives on service? He's one of those I think can make something happen. Yeah. Even in Napoli, as good as they are, he scored some.
But
yes,
you see,
he can, but he also needs people to feed
in
him.
Napoli in a structure that makes it possible and gives him the freedom to attack those spaces. In the Nigerian team, if he tries anything like that, he knows one of 2 things is going to happen. His teammates are going to hold on to the ball for far too long.
I was just going to go there.
Someone is going
Nigeria's
to run.
wingers are ball hoarders. Ball hoarders. Mosisa, it's one of the reasons they lost to Tunisia. Yeah. He just wants to dribble everybody, and score by himself. You can't do that, Anyway, hopefully...
A quick problem also. Aside Osimhen, I think the attackers also, they're not able to translate their club form to national team.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Watching Nigeria during the qualification, it's not the same. It's not the same. Ademola Lookman. It's not the same.
They're struggling.
Chukwueze. It's not the same. Even Kelechi when he's playing for Nigeria. It's not. They are not the players we watch week in, week out.
Pressure, maybe.
That's the thing. I don't know.
And they're conceding too many goals as well because in the 14 games that Pesero has supervised since he took the job, they've conceded in like 11 of them. So they can't keep a clean sheet. It's one of the problems.
If you have that keeper, how
you have that goalkeeper some way.
In friendly matches, in competitive games. What's the name of the one that was at the last AFCON? He made a mistake and they threatened to burn his family home. Oh God!
The light skin boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that a story for every Nigerian AFCON?
It was bad, man. Group B, Egypt against Mozambique is the first game.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. This one.
It should be. It's Egypt. It's AFCON. It should be. I think they've got what it takes.
I like
Mohamed
that.
Salah.
It's Egypt.
It's AFCON. Yeah.
It's always a different story. Those 2 words together.
Salah is in form. And the thing about Egypt is they've got a lot of local lads who are playing in the team. So the telepathy with the Ali players is still there. And players who are not even playing week in, week out with their clubs. When they were, and as Danny says for Nigeria, whereas some of their top stars don't turn up. Egyptian stars do turn up, irrespective of their club form.
And I mentioned a very important thing. DK, pick on it for me. You can't win the AFCON without good goalkeeping. And no other team on the continent.
You have 2 of the best.
They have 4 solid goalkeepers. 4. And they brought all 4.
Look, they just came to show off.
They brought all 4.
They came to show off.
Gabaski.
Look, round of 16, Shanawi was having a tournament of his life. Then he gets injured in the round of 16. Gabaski came in, and he was like the best goalkeeper.
Salary gets fit. Gabaski back to bench.
You know the funny thing in the last AFCON? The top 2 goalkeepers in terms of goals prevented were El Shanawi and then Gabaski. And exactly. They prevented 3.5, 3.6. And one played 3 games, the other played the rest of the teams.
Yeah.
How on earth is that possible?
It's unbelievable.
First of all, how much pressure and how many shots are you conceding to the point that your goalkeepers can be that influential?
Is that a problem though for Egypt?
But we're here worrying
considering that the goalkeepers are having to make a lot of saves.
That was 2 years ago. I think they've changed slightly in their style, but I think the fundamentals are still there. The thing is, you see, they understand the competition and they understand that in winning competitions, the principle, the primary most important thing is be very difficult to beat. It's not about your passing and excitement. Like Nigeria would have won the last AFCON.
They were sweet. They
were sweet. They were sweet. But you don't win competitions like that. That's what most people always fondly overlook. Even if you go back to Spain in 2010,
Yeah.
They were not
as
they were very pragmatic.
Yeah.
They lost their first game. You forgot.
Switzerland beat them.
Some games they were very nice to watch. Other games they had to grind out results. That is how you go about a tournament. And Egypt just
like
simply
France
understand
in 06,
that.
how they got to the final.
No, even France in 2018, they were not blowing teams up. They were just pragmatic.
One goal in the group stages last time.
Yeah.
They got one.
They won one game.
They won one. Yeah. Scoring one.
Yeah.
They drew, I think, 2 goalless draws and then
they won one by a goal.
But when they got to the knockout round, they were able to navigate through it. So the point is, you see, Egypt understands that. And they have a way of... What I love about Egypt is they know who their best players are.
Yeah.
Okay? Over time, no matter who comes in, they know who their best players are. And they know how to play to their strengths.
They'll feed you.
That's it.
And what a spine. El Shanawi, Hegazi, El Neni, Salah. That is...
Look, I love
they have
coaches.
the oldest squad in the AFCON, by the way.
I love coaches who appreciate continuity.
Yeah.
So when Rui Vitória took charge in 2022, there was sufficient basis for him to discard this and say, you know what, forget this, it's not working. They had just lost to Ethiopia 2-0. They lost to South Korea in a friendly by 4-1. But what does he do? He decides that, you know what, there's nothing wrong with the spine of the team. We just need to give the team better protective cover and more clarity in the second phase of their build-up. So how they are going to fashion out the chances for Mohamed Salah. He's the one constant in that team. So all he needed to do was to just give them variety so that Egypt are not predictable. Because whoever lines up against Egypt knows that one long ball to Mohamed Salah and you're dead. So what does he do? He gives them a bit of balance. He's also introduced a bit more freedom than we saw under Carlos Queiroz and all of these other coaches. End results, in the 14 matches that Rui Vitória has superintended over, he's won 12 out of 14. They've not lost any competitive game. The only defeat in that time was a friendly to Tunisia, I think. In that time, they've scored 33 goals. They've conceded just 6.
Unbelievable.
So it just... If you want the other side of the coin or both sides of the divide, he's satisfied it. Yeah. Just 6 goals considered in 14, 33 goals scored in 14. Mohamed Salah is still central. He has not disturbed the chemistry of the team. He's not disturbed the balance of the team itself. He's getting results. They are playing football that works for them. What's not to love?
Oh, unbelievable. And also, a good point to make is that Rui Vitória is actually a very experienced winning manager. Yeah. He's won 2 Premier League titles with Benfica. So he's not just like some other coach from Portugal.
I mean, credit to Egypt. They're always going for the top.
But
they're paying the top dollar to
the
best.
You go to Portugal to hire a coach. The coaches that have won the Premier League title, but no, it's a former Real Madrid assistant you would go and hire. And so, because he's worked with Jose Mourinho, and his name is Jose. So you think that is what it takes?
How long did he even work with? How long did he even work with Real Madrid? How long did he even work with Real Madrid?
A couple of months, I guess. Listen, game of the tournament. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Ghana up against
Egypt.
No. Our first game is the game of the tournament. Are you kidding me?
Cape Verde.
Are you just kidding me? Ghana's first game of the tournament is the game of the tournament.
Sir, please, I want to say something.
Yes.
Mishu.
Listen, the Black Stars, we've said all we can say about the team in previous episodes of this very podcast. The most essential thing is we've had issues with the way Chris Hughton has struggled to get the best out of the team, to get the right balance, to get the right system, to get the team playing good football, and to get the team actually winning games convincingly. After 10 days of training, Sicho, the tactical board is here. In your view, how should we line up?
Well, listen, Danny, you're closer.
Okay, that's fine.
Because
that's the guy brings.
I'm actually thinking that and what I'm going to say is based on what I've seen and the peculiar problems we have with the profile of players we've got in camp. Mm-hmm. I think one of our biggest problems is how to defend these areas.
Yes.
These areas, right? And these areas. Mm-hmm. And at times in these spaces and that spaces, in these spaces.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that because it's so easy to cut through the Black Stars, and unfortunately for us, we don't have 2 centre backs who necessarily complements each other to an elite level.
Okay.
We probably might have to throw the three of them onto the pitch. And surprisingly, when we've thrown the three of them onto the pitch, in games that we've used them, we've enjoyed some of our best performances defensively. So in the game against Brazil in the second half, we saw it when we switched the back three with Amate, Jiku, and Mo Salisu.
Okay.
Brazil couldn't penetrate or couldn't find the spaces. In the first half against Portugal at the World Cup, the same thing was true. And against Nigeria in the World Cup qualifier in Abuja, the second half when we made that switch to the back three, we're very strong.
So for you, it's the back three.
We need to go to the back three because Amate is very comfortable playing in this space. He's very much played as a right back before.
Okay.
So he's not too shy or afraid of or uncomfortable of going here.
Yes.
Now, Jiku as well, for me, I think he's a better leader than Salisu and Amate. He's really good at organizing Jiku.
Okay.
So you can play him centrally. And then you've got Salisu because obviously he's left-footed. So he's very comfortable in receiving the ball in this place and going that way.
That's
defensively, he's very sound as well. That is if he is fit. Now, once we get that done, these three, I think, will complement themselves. It's the midfield too that now the debate.
Let's go the fullbacks first.
The fullbacks.
Do they pick themselves? Easy?
Gideon Mensah, Schindler or Odoi.
Okay.
Schindler or Odoi. But I might lean towards Odoi a little bit. Because I'm suspecting we might see a lot of the ball. Cape Verde will play.
They're very counter-attacking too.
Very counter-attacking. So that they might offer us the ball and see what we can do so they can break.
Okay.
But if that is true, then I'm going with Odoi.
Okay.
But I don't think the team is going to trash Schindler.
As we've seen Madagascar do against Ghana, as we've seen.
You guys are speaking away from your microphone. How should we?
So, as we've seen Madagascar,
Thank you.
right? Like we saw Madagascar, Comoros, Central African Republic, Angola in Kumasi.
Yeah.
Teams no longer fear us.
That's true.
They are happy to go toe-to-toe with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Which means whatever game plan Chris Hughton is developing has to be with the mindset that he should not expect possession at a counter.
Yeah, I agree. But one thing that also
Okay.
keep in mind is Cape Verde as a team themselves.
Yeah.
When they've got too much of the ball,
They are not comfortable.
I find.
But
them
the
not
coach
to be-
doesn't mind.
Yeah.
2 weeks
But I
ago, he
think-
gave an interview where he says, there is no problem with not having the ball. The Cape Verde coach.
Cape Verde coach,
Absolutely.
yeah.
There's no problem. I think they don't have a problem when you don't have the ball. What they also try and do is to make sure you don't get in behind them. But what they try to do is to bait you in and then hit you on the
Teacher, I want to see the rest of your team.
All right. So in midfield, so like I said, Odoi
Yes.
and Gideon Mensah obviously starts
Okay.
as the left fullback and right fullback. This is where I'll play Ashimero and Baba
Idrisu.
Baba Idrisu. I think he's the
So an
best.
8 and a 6.
Yes, an 8 and a 6, which can be a very good double pivot at time because
Yes.
Ashimero is very underrated with his work ethic of the ball. I think
He is.
he's a decent stabilizer, so he wins the ball quite well as well. And Baba for me is our best DM in the team. You know, then
Sweeping up, cleaning up, recycling possession, giving it to Shmeru.
Absolutely. Then this is where it can be very flexible.
The front three is where the issue is.
We could have Kudus here, Inaki here, Jordan here, or Kudus here, Jordan here, Inaki here. Now the reason why I'm going to do this is if you give Kudus the mobility and
What's your preferred arrangement of that front three?
like I said, it has to be flexible. It really has to.
So let's just say this is Kudus.
Yeah.
This is Inaki.
Yeah.
This is Jordan. You're saying they can interchange
They
positions.
can entertain, but if Kudus is going to be here, then Inaki should be somewhere here.
Further forward.
Yes, further forward. If Kudus is going to be here, I want Inaki and Jordan here.
So more or less like a front
false
two.
line.
Kind
False
of.
line.
Yes.
This is a false line. But what happens then is we know how Jordan and Inaki can play. If you stick Inaki to the line and you stick Jordan to the line, you never get the best out of them.
No.
If you want to do this, play Bukari and Pencil. They are proper wingers and they are comfortable having the line. But if you want to play Jordan, which I suspect will start, you want to play Inaki, these are the spaces. And once they vacate this space, and they are almost always in and around the box because they'll be somewhere there, then they can give the license to Odoi and then Gideon Mensah to be attacking these places. And then we've got two central midfielders who should be able to share up the responsibility of mopping up for them or spreading across. You've got your back team who are going to back them up, you know. And so, of course, Gideon Mensah is fit and sharp enough to be tracking back and what have you. So you can get this. What this offers us is when the boys in the wide area, if we get good balls into the box, we've got bodies into the box to compete. More so in the half spaces, Inaki is good there, Jordan is good there, Kudus is good in and around these areas. And because they can interchange, you can cause a lot of problems for, you know. And the back line, we've got some pace about us. So if they're going to counter us with the long balls, I'm expecting that Mo Salisu, Jiku, and Mate should be able to deal with those threats. And at times, when you're being suffocated in midfield, these two should help make it a midfield for
Actually, you had some concerns here, did you?
Yeah, my concern is with
you
Chris.
can come forward. It's
Yeah,
okay.
my concern is with Chris Hughton.
Yeah.
There are certain coaches who are either not capable or reluctant of coaching teams beyond their own insecurities.
Okay.
So they are wedded to a set of principles and they discard every other concept and idea because of what they believe to be the deficiencies or the vulnerabilities that they come with. So for someone like Chris Hughton, and this is just my view, the reason he wants to always play a double pivot of hold 2 DMs is because he doesn't trust his defense, which is a convenient way of shirking the responsibility of actually working out something that gives solidity to
Let me
this
put
team.
it this way.
Yeah.
This is what Situ thinks he should do.
Yeah.
What do
You think he will do what? Because that's exactly what you're trying to tell us.
Yes.
That based on what you know of Chris
I think
Hughton,
he's going to
this is what you think he will
He's
do.
going
What would
to
it, what,
upset all of us by going with 2 natural DMs, which would make
no,
those
but what would he
central
do in that
in
back?
what
What would
system?
he
Is
do?
it-
What would he
Gonna go
do?
with a 4 at the back?
with his 4 at the back, which I would agree with because whatever the formation is, it should not include that.
So you
So you're saying that this is what? Okay.
So this is Gideon Mensah,
It's okay.
but I will concede there's a problem with playing 2 left-footed centre backs, right?
In
Because
who?
In who and who?
in Jiku and then Salah.
Jiku is right
It's
footed.
right footed.
Right. So
But I agree with you because Jiku's best position is here, not here.
yes. So in terms of passing angles, your attack is going to look lopsided or one-directional, if you like, though, as people would call it. But
So
all
don't
for
you
that.
think he would drop Salisu though? And play those 2?
I don't think
To be
so.
fair, that has been our best partnership in 2
No,
centre-backs.
yes.
Amate and Jiku, not Salisu.
I know. But the Amate we have come to see in the last 18 months is a disaster waiting to happen. Every time he gets away with a mistimed tackle or he makes a mistake and the opponents fail to score. We've seen it.
That's
In the last-
one thing. One thing is what you've seen. The other is what Hughton will do.
And I'm saying that.
You're laughing.
Yes.
But okay, if Hughton is going to play double pivot and he's picking
So you think he'll play a back 4?
Gideon here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, I think before he starts,
Before he starts,
who's going to be there?
he's going to
Odoye
play,
or Ali
He's
Duseidu?
going to play either Odoye or Ali Duseidu.
I think with the preamble you gave, in him trying to protect the back, I think he's going to go for the more defensive.
Alidu.
Ali Duseidu. And then, as you said,
Elijah Usu and Salis and
Baba and Salis
Baba and
is
Salis.
what he would go with. And then he'll give you your front 4 again. So
Okay.
that would feature Semenyo, Kudus, Jordan, and then Iñaki Williams.
Semenyo.
Where would Kudus be?
Kudus just off
Yeah.
Semenyo, yes.
So that number 10, that hole?
So more like this.
Okay.
And then so Iñaki here. But the problem with that is that when you play either of Alidu and what's his name, Dennis Odoye,
Yeah.
you will need someone to hold it with here.
Yeah.
You need a natural winger to give the team that bit of balance.
But we go in Aki. Yeah.
So this is more like 4-2-3-1.
Iñaki is more influential when he's getting closer to the box,
Yeah.
right? And you don't want to confuse Iñaki with your instructions of hold the line, but also get here. Because when the build-up starts, he's going to take the natural position until the ball gets into the final third where it's in circulation and he sees that opportunity.
So actually, if I'm getting you right,
Yes.
you are saying that,
Chris Hughton goes 4-2-4.
and it will be problematic.
It will be problematic because look, we have seen this in the past year. It has not worked. There has been no dynamism, right? There has been no creativity. We've looked tentative, we look predictable. Look, the simple solution to this is doesn't even require a back 3 because I suspect Kevin will sit back and allow us possession. Discard this.
What would you do?
Introduce, what's his name? Ashimeru Majid. He's more inventive. And look, that 25 minutes cameo
For
against
who? For
one
Salis.
of the, for one of the Salis
For Salis.
preferably, yes.
Okay.
You're going to bench Salis.
I will.
So Baba and Ashimeru.
Baba and Ashimeru.
You also bench Salis.
I go
because-
then Salis.
The reality with what Ashimeru offered us in that game that we all love to call back wasn't because of how creative he was, but just the natural instincts that
Of driving the team forward.
of driving the ball forward. And
I think is it.
not
you guys
needing an extra second
you
to
guys
think about
don't-
what to do.
I feel like there's too much justification for Ashimeru to start.
there isn't
Almost
enough justification for him.
No, hold on.
There isn't enough justification.
No, I'm
for
saying it's as no, I'm talking about amongst us.
Yeah.
That there is justification, so much justification for him to start. It's almost as if we're saying we don't think Hughton will start him.
Yes.
It's almost like that's what we're saying, right?
Yeah, because they said what
Yeah, exactly.
But what about guys? I just based on what you said again, he doesn't trust the back line. Went to the. What about dropping Semenyo and make this based on what you said?
Yeah.
Make this Nyaki.
Painful.
Make this Kudus.
Yeah.
Make this Jordan. But play Salis, play Papa, and play Ashimero. 4-3-3. That could be our best midfield combination.
If you do
You've
that
got Salis, you've got Ashimero, you've got Papa.
Question for you though: if you do that against Cape Verde,
Yeah.
What's wrong with the 4-3-3 against Cape Verde?
wait, against Egypt, where you need a bit more solidity, what then do you do? Do you throw in an extra midfielder?
It depends on how it works against Cape Verde. If this midfield is solid enough and holds, and it finds more bond and telepathy, it could go across the tournament. Because I'm looking at maybe Baba sits slightly deeper, and you have Salis and Ashimero go this way.
Diamond.
Yes, it could be if it could be a 4-3-3, but one defensive and an attacking 4-3-3. You know, and then you've got this. I don't know, but
Danny K, you said you've been thinking a lot.
Yeah.
You've been watching Cape Verde a lot.
Yeah. First thing is, in as much as they're a very good counter-attacking team, they play with a higher line.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. They're not going to sit deep and invite.
They're very adventurous.
They're adventurous. And they press you into making mistakes, and then in transition or the counter, they will get you. Okay. So they are not a sit deep, low block counter team. They are not like that. They're sort of an expansive counter-attacking team. So they have spaces. Quick transition. There are spaces to exploit. Now, I'll start off from where you guys left off. I don't think this will be possible. I don't think Baba sitting Salis and then Ashimero will be possible because of this. Salis in this position, that he doesn't have that.
What if Lamptey?
What if Lamptey? That's the problem for me. Why?
Lamptey, Ashimero.
Because because in terms of
Lamptey plays LCM.
Yeah. And then my Ashimero plays Ashimero. In fact, let's do this. Let's take this away so that this becomes clearer.
Yes.
So if this is Lamptey and Ashimero, my problem is Lamptey has the ability, we know, but I didn't see him in the Black Stars against Namibia. I will not throw him on in the first game. I will not do that to him. Yeah. So what I personally think is the 3-back should work. And you see, this is it's not a theory, it's a fact because I know it will work. There's been evidence of the Black Stars showing proper solidity in playing a back three.
Okay.
Chris Hughton consistently plays the double pivot because he doesn't trust the back two. But there is a way to get a proper balance between offensive football and defensive football by playing the back three. What we did in the past, when we played the back three, we looked a bit flat when we were in terms of transition and ball progression. Because I've always looked at Thomas Partey as a player.
Yeah.
Not his ability, but the areas that he picks up. And put that against the midfield partners that he's been asked to play with and the areas that they also like to pick up, not the ability or not the job that has been given to them. Baba likes to operate in this role.
Yeah,
He does it as a cleaner.
Very deep.
And very safe. Partey also likes to operate in this role, but Partey is a more progressive player.
Yes.
There are two defensive midfielders, but very different type of defensive midfielders.
So that kind of double pivot will work.
It won't work, and it doesn't work because it doesn't offer enough
space.
Not enough space. It doesn't offer enough defensive cover. Why? Because of the space that is left in between the lines.
You're saying that Thomas also likes to drop too deep. So both of them.
Yeah. So both of them tend to occupy these areas. Yeah. These areas. And then there's always a huge gap.
Is that a responsibility issue or you think, because Thomas has spoken about it before, when he says he can't do what the coach hasn't asked him to do.
Yeah. That's a player profile issue. The fact that we have our best player, Thomas Partey, who operates in this role, but then almost all the other midfielders who could help him clean up also like to operate in this role. So what happens is that, look, once there's this gap, if you give any decent team this amount of space, it doesn't matter if you have Maldini and whoever at the back, they will still struggle.
This way, if Chair was fit, Chair does this.
He does this. Yes. But because we are insistent on a double pivot, see, a double pivot must always be complementary. You can't have two players operating in the same spaces. Not necessarily in terms of instruction, but in the same spaces. Now, this is why I think the absence of Thomas Partey is a blessing in disguise for Ghana.
Okay.
Because Baba naturally loves operating in this zone.
Yes.
But he's more of your typical defensive midfielder in the past. He wins the ball, he keeps it safe. He doesn't go for expansive, risky passes.
Yes.
He keeps it safe. So most often, if he's playing with Ashimeru, who offers that perfect balance, Ashimeru can do this.
Yes.
Ashimeru will demand the ball from him. So there's that option. Give it to me and then now I can find. So for the first time, we'll have a player who can operate in this area and not necessarily think about what is happening behind him. Instead of having...
Why doesn't Thomas do that though? Like why
That's not his job. That's not his job.
That's not his game.
That's not his... Exactly.
Okay. We have seen Thomas here. And he has thrived.
That's
Yeah, but it's a different thing altogether.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not like naturally he doesn't know what.
Come behind him for that game. I think.
Yeah. When the manager asks you to play, in this case, play there in the final third, your thinking and your ability, or your thinking and the way you process the game is very different from when you're asked to play here.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to affect the game there, and there.
Remember the combination that day? You had Ebenezer Ofori, a natural passer and progressor. And then you had Ifeanyi Akwa.
No, it was actually a period. It wasn't a day.
Yeah.
It was a period under Kwesi Appiah where he handled, in fact, from the two...
He was playing
games,
in front of
Yeah.
Ebenezer Ofori and Duncan.
Yeah.
Okay. In that Congo game that you are referring to,
Yeah.
Ebenezer Ofori got injured, I think, after 30-something minutes. Duncan came in. So it was Duncan, Ebenezer and Thomas.
It was a team that, beyond the balance, had all the technical requirements
To free him.
Fair enough.
Very
Daniel,
complimentary.
finish up.
So I've asked for a back three, then I've asked for... This is Ashimeru and then Baba. So Baba is operating sort of in this role. Ashimeru can do the
I know with the same back three I picked.
Yeah.
Amate, Jiku.
Jiku and
Back
then
to
in
the
that
side.
arrangement. Yeah, in that arrangement. Then here, I'm not going with Dennis Odo, I'm going with Schindler.
Okay.
Why? Because I saw Schindler in the game against Angola. He looked defensively decent. He wasn't too expressive, but his natural position is a right winger. He offers much more in terms of giving us that option out wide. Now, why am I insisting on him? According to my scouting report on the Cape Verdean side, they struggle a lot with crosses. So you are going to need these guys to be on top of their game. With Gideon Mensah's delivery, we know how good he is. We know that, remember, the assist to
Spot on pinpoint.
in fact, he has quite a number of assists in the past. The limited opportunities that he's been given, and he creates some decent opportunities from there. So this is where my problem is. And with Dennis Odoi, he doesn't seem to be... It's like he's afraid. He's not adventurous enough. But Schindler will give you that because this area of the pitch is where he naturally thrives. So if anything, we should be concerned about here. But we've seen evidence that shows that he can hold his own in this side. So
that can help out as well.
Exactly. So Schindler is here. Now, I have a list of games. During the qualification series for Cape Verde, they conceded goals from crosses. 2 goals against Burkina Faso away. The third goal against Togo away from home. The first goal they conceded against Central African Republic. And then when you go back to the previous competitive competition, that was the World Cup qualifiers, there are 2 goals against Nigeria that they conceded, both home and away were also by crosses. Now, they are not direct crosses as in high balls or low. Once the ball is coming from the wings, they seem to struggle to in terms of organization.
A ball from wide.
A ball from wide. So that is where we can thrive on, and that is where we can hurt them. And that will be very, very, very extremely important if you have wingers or wide men who can cross. Now,
Well, you're from 3. That's critical.
who else? Kudus, Iñaki, and Jordan. In fact, let me start. Jordan Ayew, Kudus. And no, it's very important. It's extremely important. Now, look, this is a podcast, so I can feel free.
Yeah, man.
What is your fascination with Jordan? You said you needed wide men who could cross. What would be Jordan's job?
He says these guys.
These guys,
Yes, I know.
These
Hold
are
on,
wing
no,
backs.
Yes,
The
I'm
wing
saying
backs.
he needed wide men who could cross. So the wide men are there. Jordan is part of the front 3. What would be Jordan's job here? Finishing off those crosses or what? Because we know finishing is not where his strongest suit is.
Let me take you to school.
School me.
There is a reason why, as a forward player, for the past 7 years, for both club and country,
Yes.
Jordan Ayew has remained consistently in every team starting
I
lineup.
don't doubt that.
Let me tell you why. In modern day football, in fact, not even in modern day, in football, there's an asset when it comes to versatility. The game changes in so many phases, and player instructions can be changing like this.
True.
It is very important to have a player who can adapt to any situation at any point in time. You don't have to change from the bench. That's what Jordan Ayew gives you. And I'll give you examples. In games for both club and country, where teams, in fact, when you look at him during his time at Lorient, he had that free space on the left and he could express himself. He scored double plus goals. He gave, I think, 10 assists, double plus goals and assists. When he came to Aston Villa, the French guy dissect under his... Yeah. He was also on the left-hand side, given that freedom. Very exciting to watch. When he went to Swansea and he became a centre forward, when you look at his goals per game, and compare that to the number of chances Swansea were creating per game, that was a very good return he gave them. That's the season he finished their best player, their top goal scorer. Then he went to Crystal Palace. In fact, it was on the back of that season. He came to the AFCON 2019. What people forget, he finished as our top goal scorer. And
he was actually our best player.
And that was the only tournament for Ghana he's ever played as a centre forward. No, it wasn't Wakaso.
No, our best player was Jordan. Without a doubt.
Wakaso
it wasn't even close.
He was the best player. He cried. But Jordan Ayew, that was the only competition or tournament that Jordan Ayew has gone with Ghana as a centre forward. And he finished as our top goal scorer. When he went to Crystal Palace that season, he was given that central strikers role. He scored 9 goals that season.
Did.
But I did some math at the end of that season. Salah scored 19 goals that season. On paper, everybody did mathematics. 19 is bigger than 9. But when you look at shots per game, the players, the shot accuracy, the shot success, the number of chances
let's just say conversion rate.
Jordan had a much
Jordan's
higher.
Conversion was high.
So the chances given to him, he did much better than what was given to him.
He was more clinical.
More clinical than Mohamed Salah.
True story.
Season changes, manager changes. He sent on to the wings. And you see, most people don't want to admit this. But when Vieira came, he focused the attacking side of the team on Zaha's side, not Jordan. So even the centre forward at Crystal Palace was struggling for goals. Their job was to do the work Zaha won't do so that Zaha will be getting the goals.
Getting to those goals.
And in that, Jordan adapted and he was very good. The number shows he was very good. Remember, last year in March, we had this argument where I told you, it is not like Jordan can't create chances or he can't. He's not being given that job. And I told you guys that I bet you, if a new manager comes to Crystal Palace and he gives him a different role, you'll see. Vieira is sacked. Hodgson comes in. He's given Jordan a much more expressive role.
It was immediately telling.
Today, Jordan has the same goals and assist numbers as Mohamed. Kudus has 6 goals and 1 assist. Jordan has 2 goals and 5 assists.
Jordan has the best attacking numbers for any Crystal Palace attacker.
Any Crystal Palace attacker, he's created the most chances. So it just shows you adaptability.
So Jordan
and for him,
there.
We don't know when the game will change. Oppositions, in terms of their style, it changes constantly. We have too many one-dimensional wingers in our national team. They are all very exciting, but offer very little outside that. So if we are not going all out attack, or if you don't want, if you want your wingers to hug the touchline and cross the ball, they may not be able to do that. Joseph Pinsel is not that type of. If we're going a back 4 with double pivot, 3 guys behind the number 9, okay, and you were tasking your wingers to get in crosses because the scouting report has told you that this team struggles when they get in crosses. Bukari and
they are not good
crosses on the ball. That's not their natural game. They like to hold it, go past opposition. They like the 1-2 link up. They are those type of players. But Jordan can adapt. And I'll give you evidence. World Cup, South Korea.
If you tell the others to adapt, they can't adapt.
They can't. World Cup, South Korea. No, quick one.
Why? Because what?
World Cup, South Korea. First game was a complete disaster. Second game, we focused our entire creativity through Jordan Ayew. And he lived up to it whilst maintaining that defensive balance. Because throughout that game, on the left-hand side, Jordan and Gideon Mensah, South Korea had no luck. So if you remember, in the second half, they had to switch their focus towards Tariq Lamptey.
There was Kudus, and Kudus wasn't doing Jordan's job.
Exactly.
So I remember.
So he was exposed.
At the stadium, I saw Salisu. Absolutely screaming at Kudus to be tracking back.
Yeah.
But to be fair, also in that first game, we also saw another side of Jordan. where he can be quite lackadaisical and give the ball away
So
in very dangerous areas.
Here's the other side of
But it happened.
Here's the other side of the Jordan conversation.
But it happened.
It is very tempting, and it's also wrong to assume that the conditions that exist at the various clubs he has played for and the needs of those teams are automatically the same as the needs of the Black Stars.
Yes.
At
So
the
we
time
need to have a
he was
conversation about his role in the
playing.
Black
It is not
Stars.
the same. Look, when you look at the Crystal Palace team, Lorient, Swansea, and all of these Villa, all of these teams that he has played, at every point in time, the needs of the Black Stars team for the positions that Jordan have occupied have been markedly different. They have never been the same. And there is no evidence of that. If you look at the Black Stars team, we don't play any structural football that requires you to be deep lying, defensive, pseudo playmaker or any of that nonsense.
That's not the problem, though.
I'm coming. We don't do any of that. What we have seen the Black Stars do is just a simple job description that of the average football fan. Not any tacticals, any jargons or any of that. If you look at the Black Stars team and you ask anyone, what do you expect from, or given the way the team plays, anyone with sufficient understanding of football, the job description of the player occupying this position, it is clear for anyone to see. For the players in attacking positions, more so, because in the period that Jordan has gained prominence at club level, it is also the period that Ghana has painfully watched the retirement of its greatest player in the modern era without a replacement. In that period, we've also seen Andre Ayew getting to the twilight of his career. Now he's down the hill. So the job description, not just for Jordan, but for all of our forwards, has been simple. Create goals. Make goals. You either score or you're involved in the creation of those goals. And I'm saying here that for the longest time, Jordan has not been good enough. The one time that he turned up, and I wrote an article about that, I think 2019, the one time that Jordan turned up, there was no question about his quality at that time.
Absolutely.
And the fact that this is what Jordan offered. So the problem for me here is that we have made excuses for Jordan time and time and again. And he, more than any player in the Black Stars team, has gotten opportunities. Look, I can bet my last coin that, but for the name Jordan, if any other player had sold the stinker that Jordan sold us against Portugal.
Ayew.
Not Ayew, but the name Jordan.
You talk about Jordan.
No, Jordan Ayew. If any other player has sold the stinker that Jordan did against Portugal, he doesn't play that second game.
If Party made that mistake, no coach in his right.
He doesn't play that second game.
Okay, so let's get back on track. Let's get back on track.
So the issue for me is that...
Hold on.
Jordan didn't start the Portugal game.
Yeah.
And when the technical team made the change at the time they made it, which was wrong, it completely affected the game. And that wasn't only a Jordan issue. The only mistake that he made was for the second goal, or for the third goal, not the first, not the second. But the second goal was actually a very bad pass to him. Everybody blames him for it. But it was the third goal that I thought that he didn't apply himself a lot
to that.
And he had just gone into the game at a time where the tempo of the game.
Yeah, but
that was more technical.
The position Jordan plays, you're not going to find many players who make mistakes or costly mistakes. It's often going to be a case of they not doing enough to influence the game.
Fair. Actually, let's get back on track. Daniel, finish up for me. You said Jordan, Inaki Williams, and Kudus Mohammed. Yeah. You have made a very strong defense of Jordan Ayew.
It's not defense.
It's defense, to be honest, because hold on. It's defense because there's so many people that have questions.
Kudus is star boy. Kudus is the most important player.
I have a question though, because you've said all you need to say about why we shouldn't necessarily expect Jordan to be doing the scoring, because he does so many more important things than just goal scoring. Who shoulders the goal scoring responsibility in a lineup like this? Who scores our goals?
Kudus, no, the system has shown that. You see, this is a very interesting thing about football.
Inaki.
And how
many goals has he got for the Black Stars?
Calm down. I always say this thing. Look, you don't always expect the things that you don't judge players by their traditional rules all the time.
That's not it.
Because
I'm just saying we need to score goals. Who scores?
Let me learn so that you understand where I'm coming from.
Jordan has to be one of those players.
If you say in modern day football, wingers and number 9s are supposed to score, so why isn't he scoring? I can take you on that. Do you know why? in that period, when you talk about the Black Stars struggling to create, it's a team and a structure problem. It's not a Jordan Ayew problem. When you take
That's
Jordan
fine.
out of the team, do we create chances? No.
But has he ever been out of the team?
That's it. Come on.
That's
Come on.
It's not. Come on. That's the point that you
You're
was making.
referencing a scenario that doesn't happen.
The reason why...
Hang on a minute.
No,
Are you
the
saying-
reason why I
We've
don't
seen-
want
we've
to
seen-
go there...
We've seen Pencil have this
Yeah.
opportunity and not showing level of consistency in creating.
He's not had his opportunity at the expense
When-
of Jordan.
No, it doesn't have to be at the expense
It doesn't
of
have
Jordan.
to
That's what we are saying. So
No,
George, we are
Situ,
saying no. So we
when
are
did
saying
he
that.
get this?
No, we are saying that.
Bukari plays, is he creative?
No,
Bukari
no.
creative?
He
Hold on.
hasn't had
It's
enough
fair.
opportunities for us
No,
to judge.
No, is he creative? with
He
this?
hasn't had enough
It's
opportunities for us to
not
judge.
Situ. So this game, are we winning? By what margin?
Your mom pie.
Listen, and that's the
Just
tricky thing.
predict.
No, I can't predict.
If this is Mallam Goal, you haven't consulted a Mallam before coming?
No. Mallam says he doesn't even know the answer. No, but listen, it's going to be a tricky one. I just think Ghana would win.
Okay,
I think
fair.
Ghana
Daniel.
will
What did your Mallam say?
It's a 2-0 win for Ghana. Nyaki, Kudus, both assisted by Jordan Ayew.
That's right. Actually,
2-1 because this is we always concede.
Mm.
Kudus brace.
Who assists?
Kudus.
Who's assist himself?
Solo goals. Solo goals. Solo goals.
Get that in
I'm actually very, very afraid. So I'm gonna say Cape Verde win. I'm gonna say Cape Verde win. I've seen our team enough under Chris Hughton. The hope just kills you, man. So I'm saying we might not start this tournament with a win. Doesn't mean we won't win the tournament. Spain lost their first game against Switzerland, still won the World Cup. So Cape Verde in particular, I think I'm probably one of those people that agrees with Otuado that Egypt might end up being our easiest game. So I think we're going to lose this by a narrow 1 goal.
But Mr. Houghton, we beg you. Ashimeru Majid is not an impact player.
No wahala. All right, guys. I'm going to ask you quick predictions. Just a couple of sentences on the match and give me your prediction, and then we move on. First up, Senegal, defending champions against the Gambia. Daniel?
Under 2.5.
Under 2.5. Why?
Gambia are very difficult to break down. Senegal usually starts competitions very slowly. I don't expect a lot of goals. Senegal lack a number 9. If you know what has happened in their history, the old generation is currently fading away. If Jackson, Nicolas Jackson is your striker, you are definitely not going to be scoring
At
goals.
least the
So
newlywed
under-
is also there. So now, except he wasn't at the World Cup.
he's not the same player. I think under 2.5.
Actually,
The Gambia spent 9 hours in transit?
yeah.
Refused to train
Madness.
the last time because of the bonus row and all of these issues. But the AFCON is the AFCON. They will probably turn up and start playing like prime Brazil. But when all is said and done, I expect Sadio Mane to score and then dedicate that goal to his wife.
So
Senegal win.
Morgan, where man?
Sicho.
Stop talking about.
But listen, after 2010, there's something about champions trying to better the record or win it. Egypt didn't qualify for the next AFCON.
two
Next two
AFCON in a
AFCONs,
row.
Yeah. And in 2010,
In fact, 3 AFCONs in a row.
so when they won the 2010, they didn't make it for the next.
They didn't
I
make
just
it
want
for 2012,
I just want to look at
2013,
I just want to look at the
Then they
impact
came back
on the
to
next
Brazil, they went to
edition.
final.
I want to look at the impact of the next edition. Then in 2012, when Nigeria won it,
No.
2012 was Zambia.
Zambia.
when Zambia won it, they exited the group
Group
stage
stage.
in the next edition, 2013. In 2013, when Sunday by Nigeria won it,
They didn't
Nigeria
qualify
didn't
for the-
qualify for the next in 2015. And when Cote d'Ivoire won it, Cote d'Ivoire exited
Yeah.
at the group stage in 2017.
Yeah.
And in 2017, when Cameroon won it, they exited in the last 16.
Yeah.
And then we saw what happened in 2019
Yeah, when
Algeria won it. And in group
group
stage,
stages.
they exited. Then in 2021, Senegal won it. So you wonder if Senegal are going to break that gent. And
I don't
if it
think-
goes according to the script, Gambia could be surprising them. And I'm looking out for that.
Nah, I think Senegal win this
It's
easy.
a derby.
Yeah.
I'm
It
looking
is,
out to
it
it.
is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Senegal wins.
All right.
Cameroon, Guinea.
Guinea wins.
Guinea win.
Yeah.
That's mad, bro.
No. the Guinea team is more settled. I think the noise around Cameroon could worry them. So, Guirassy is coming to this competition on fire. Naby Keita, when he wears that Guinea jersey, is a completely different player. In fact, their midfield looks really good. If you remember,
they've got an incredible midfield.
The boy from Napoli.
Yeah,
he used to play for Diawara.
Diawara is still there.
Who sits, gives that cover, allows Naby Keita to do his things. Look, once you are creating the chances for in fact, Guinea's problem in previous AFCONs have been they're a very exciting team that creates opportunities.
Was a finisher, lack of finishing. And now they've got one.
There. I think Guinea is beating Cameroon.
Actually,
Vincent Abubakar is just 2 goals away from breaking into the top 5 AFCON scorers. He's leaving this tournament as
a top scorer.
And he's starting with a brace against Guinea. Mark it on.
I think Cameroon will win.
Yeah.
Cameroon it's even at the World Cup they played well.
Yeah.
They were just in a very difficult group. I still think a lot of the players are around. I think Cameroon might just, but it's going to be one of the games of the first round.
It is.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think Cameroon.
And look, let's not place too much value on the whole Onana nonsense. Sebastian Bassong, he gave an interview to the BBC and he said, worry about your countries. Our country was forged in adversity. When everything looks well, rule us out. We need that bad energy to go and compete. And that's the Cameroon story.
I actually do think Cameroon will win. Cameroon are one of my dark horses to win this competition. They triumph in chaos. Yeah. As for that, you can't take it away.
There's no Mbeumo.
Yeah,
that's a big miss. Yeah. That's a massive miss.
It's a big miss. Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Tunisia versus Namibia, Mali, South Africa.
South Africa.
Bro, Burkina, okay, go on. Mali, South Africa first.
Mali, South Africa, under 1.5.
Under?
I promise you.
The way the South Africans like to open up all over the place.
Against Mali.
They can't score.
They concede
Mali
that.
too can't score. Both of them. Look, it will be the most exciting goalless draw you see at the competition.
So I think
very expansive football.
It will shock you.
I think there'll be goals.
Look, open the pool for South Africa.
I think Mali will
manage to kick the ball. Who will score for Mali? Mali don't have a striker.
They don't. They have midfielders who will score.
Bro, you mentioned Burkina Faso. Listen, that is one team when in the last 10 years or so, when they're in the AFCON, I'm never going to rule them out. They wouldn't win
but
it.
The thing is, they never
But they will reach the semis. And in the group stages, they are sometimes, so most of the time in the last 10 years, one of the best teams in the group stages.
Yeah, always, yeah.
They play, they are so physical, so skillful, so aggressive. Their men are physically built, they are strong, they are everything. And I'm looking forward to Burkina Faso, and they've been unlucky at times. Even in the last edition, they were unlucky. But in the group stages, Burkina Faso has always been one of the best countries to watch at the AFCON.
Yeah, they like upsetting Ghana.
Oh.
Always.
I remember in 2013, yeah?
Of course.
In South Africa.
The worst refereeing I've ever seen in my whole life.
The referee was in Ghana's favor. Pretrapa got a red card, was rescinded. But Bansi would hold the back line to himself.
And they have Edmond Tapsoba.
Yeah.
In top form.
Yeah. And their captain is Bertrand Traoré, who hasn't played games this season for Villa, but you wonder if that makes him fresher or,
the AFCON is different.
I'm just going to say, one of my other dark horses, always a dark horse, is Tunisia. They will always make it out of the group. They will always make it a game for anybody. And against Namibia, that's a game.
It's probably the last run for most of the big boys in the Tunisia. Insakni.
Insakni is still there.
It's probably their last run. So
he also make his 8th AFCON.
Yeah, he's also
He's my favorite.
Sleety, Insakni, all of them are coming back.
One of my other absolute favorite teams, DRC. Took those pictures with their club jerseys and what have you coming into the tournament. Some decent players in there. Chancel and Bamba is still there. Johan Visa is still there. What's the name there? Mukele is still there. Yeah. Some very good players all around. To be honest.
Burkina Faso are the antithesis.
And yet they lost their last friendly match coming into this.
Burkina Faso are the antithesis to DR Congo.
Yeah.
In much the same way, Burkina Faso know what they are. We're a very physical team. We don't care about all of that technical, expansive nonsense. Compact football, counter-attacking, we'll get our results and go.
Bullying.
DR Congo are your Cameroon Ghana wannabe.
Yeah.
Right? They want to show that they have that technical ability, but they don't have the spine to provide the foundation to play that kind of football. So that's why you remember the game the Black Stars played against them, the Christian Achu game in 2015. If you meet any team that is very composed and disciplined. It doesn't take too much to beat teams like DR Congo.
So
They will
question
huff and puff.
Patsendaka and the Zambia team, is that
I
team?
will trust them more than.
No, I mean,
Because-
2017.
Yes, I will trust.
That wasn't Christian Achu. That was Jordan Ayew.
Yes, I will trust Patsendaka more because they have a team that they are aware of their limitations, but they have also clearly defined roles for the players and in which tactical context they can thrive. And their preoccupation is to try to create those contexts and conditions in real game time.
And Zambia has a defender with the best name in the whole of Africa.
Stopila Sunzu.
Thank you very much.
No, but
He's a defender and his name is Stopila.
Sunzu.
Like he literally stops.
He's the last member
He
of
doesn't
the
stop anything.
AFCON winning team.
Not seen.
Yes, he was.
He's the only member of their last
ball
he
AFCON.
doesn't
hammer.
stop anything.
Oh, but he won the AFCON 2012. That's 12 years
You
ago.
know they
and he
stop
still
anything.
plays.
Listen,
This
Boga.
Zambia team,
Yeah.
they leak goals and they score.
Morocco.
What about the international media's favorites to win the tournament?
Morocco.
That's right.
Listen.
The opening game is against Tanzania.
Yeah, Morocco's group is kind. I think it's a kind
Very.
group to them, especially for the quality. But I have my own doubts about Morocco coming into the AFCON
Me too.
because they come into the AFCON as overwhelming favorites based on the track record based on what they did at the World Cup.
Yes.
Obviously, the first African country to play in the semis, and they beat some huge teams. They had a very difficult group at the World Cup, and on the way they had to beat Portugal and Spain to get into the semis. So everybody's looking at them as the favorites. However, at the World Cup, they played as the clear underdogs, which was easy for them to sit back, soak the pressure, get a goal, counter, drag the game to penalties.
But
But
very defensive.
very defensive.
They can't
At
do
the
that
AFCON, though,
You have to go on the front foot.
there's no game they're going to go into looking like underdogs. So the temptation would be for them to play expansive. And when they've done that, and they've had a lot of the possession, they are not able to open teams that sit deep against them. And that's the problem in Morocco. Even before the World Cup,
Yep.
one of the problems they had was, and we saw when they played against Ghana in the first game last time,
Struggle.
Morocco saw all the ball. They had lots of the possession, but Ghana was so deep they couldn't break Ghana down. And now in this AFCON, I find it the same. I don't think they have enough creative players in tight spaces to open up teams like Tanzania and others who are going to sit deep against them. And they might be frustrated with that.
Yasin Bono, Amrabat, Ziyech,
Saiz.
Hakimi, lots of
You know
quality.
what I quite like about the team? In the past, there's always been this disconnect about the Moroccan coach and then the Moroccan players. So you have an expert who doesn't understand the players, or you have a local coach who doesn't understand these foreign educated kids. That's not the story with
Walid.
Walid Regragui.
Regragui, the
He
founder.
was French born, had his education in France, just like the bulk of the players in the current team. So he, in terms of psychology and even their upbringing, he understands them. He knows where they're coming from. But also because he was part of the Moroccan team that lost the final in 2004, that to a certain extent is the fuel that is driving him. And that's why if you listen to him, even after winning the CAF Champions League with that Athletic, he still thinks there's something in his life that he needs to accomplish. But the most important component of this for me is what Cicho just mentioned, the disparity between what made them so successful and the unique expectation placed on them. And even more so, the challenges that they are going to face, because you're not going to line up against Tanzania and expect that they will sit 30 yards deeper than the regular team that you faced at the World Cup. So they now have to fashion out how to break down teams. But I like the way he's gone about building this team. Everyone has forgotten about the fallout with Hakim Ziyech, the Moroccan Federation, and all of these things, because he's found a way to, while stamping his authority on the team, move players along to create a union. And it will be interesting to see the Morocco that turns up.
Let's talk about Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria.
Seb Halle.
That's the second group.
Listen, I don't
Cote d'Ivoire versus
think Nigeria survives it.
Thank you.
Because Cote d'Ivoire are going to absolutely smoke them out in that midfield.
Yeah.
It's going to be that easy.
I think so. It's Nigeria have got no... when you look at... And Cote d'Ivoire have got goals in that midfield of the years. And in attack, we mentioned it. They've got some of the best attackers on the continent.
Yeah.
And even though Nigeria have got this very good attackers, you can argue even better attackers than Cote d'Ivoire. If that midfield can't hold, those attackers are struggling. And I think Cote d'Ivoire's midfield is the only reason why, in my opinion, they are going to match up with every single team in this competition.
So heavy favorites.
They've got an incredible blend of players in there. Now, straight away, when you mentioned those names, Jean-Michel Sarri, Frankesi and the like, Sangare.
And they are smartly coached these days.
Yeah.
If you watch the Ivorian team of the last 4 years, they have something even the AFCON winning team perhaps may not have had, which is patience and discipline. In the past, the Ivory Coast teams, even the Didier Drogba teams, 2006, 2008 that we saw, believed so much on imposing themselves in the game, sometimes at the expense of being tactically smart or pragmatism. That's the word. These days, they're happy to sit back. And so things like what happened to them in 2010 when they took a 2-0 lead against Algeria and then Bulgaria and Co came back to win by 3 goals, it doesn't happen. When they beat Algeria by 4-1 at the last AFCON, what did they do? Just sat back, let Algeria have the ball, but clearly defined pattern of play when they had it. So you could call it robotic, you could call it whatever you want, but it works. It is the same strategy that has Sangare, Michel Sarri, Frankesi. Midfielders who, by their profile, will give you the impression that they are out to dominate and play the ball, but
so
they don't care.
beat Nigeria.
They will. Hands down. It's not going to be a contest.
No, I think they'll beat Nigeria.
It's going to be a game that will shock people who don't really follow African football. But if you follow the form and you know how good this Ivorian team is, and you know that this Nigerian team is only good when you are playing FIFA, then you'll not be surprised.
Egypt, Ghana.
Chai, we've closed.
Mohamed Salah against Gideon Mensah. That's where we need Jordan now. You agree with you. So salute.
No, we don't need him. He will sit on the bench.
No, we beg. Jordan must play.
If there is any game where the playmaking, defensive robotics has to come into play, it's against Mohamed Salah. Because
we beg, man. Jordan must play.
That's why we actually need the defensive bits.
Jordan must play. But listen, we can't tell you how difficult it is. Our key to winning this game is to be very compact and very disciplined tactically, because Mohamed Salah in particular, everything goes through him in this Egypt team. One ball over the top, behind Gideon Mensah, and we are in all sorts of trouble. But, Ghana has a certain quality about them. In the big games, somehow they always find a way to step up. I don't remember the last time we actually lost a big game, maybe against Morocco.
When was the last time we actually won a big game?
That is another issue. We may not be winning, but we're not necessarily getting blown away.
We've lost all our big games.
It is the smaller teams that are always beating us. It's the Comoros, the Madagascar, the Gabons we cannot beat.
There's something about Ghana, yeah?
Yeah.
And maybe Chris might get us to do that at tournaments. Because tournament football is very different from what Chris has shown.
Charlie.
I'm just saying maybe, actually. Because Ghana in recent years have struggled to appreciate when we are underdogs.
Yeah.
And we've often gone into games where clearly we are not favorites and tried to overstep our boundaries. And we've been beaten very good, right? I think in games like this against Egypt, we can frustrate them. We look at Egypt are playing well. But again, they are not a finished article yet. I still think Egypt's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And if we can be factual about our own abilities and realize that, listen, we are not better than them. And so we go into the game as underdogs and we set up properly, we could very much be frustrating Egypt. And who knows, it's football. One goal changes everything. We can actually frustrate Egypt, get a draw from that fixture. And all of a sudden, the group is blown wide open if we beat Cape Verde in the first game. So I think if Ghana understands the knowledge of results and really understand our position as underdogs going into that fixture, it would not necessarily be an easy fixture for Egypt. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, though. Like, we struggle against these top teams. I said
because we want to play some.
Yeah, because the last time we played against Algeria, we lost. Last time we played against Morocco, we lost. Last time we played against Mali, we
even
lost.
in the game against Morocco, to be fair, when we sat deep and Morocco couldn't break us down, they resorted to set pieces.
Yeah, set pieces
and Ayew was heading all the set pieces away. The reason why, even though he was tired, the manager didn't know how to take him off, because anytime Morocco put the ball in the box,
he was man marking size.
He was the one winning those balls. And to be fair, Morocco only in the last couple of minutes or so,
But look,
got that goal that.
So are we beating Egypt?
Charlie, don't ask me.
You can't even analyze that game.
Look,
You're afraid. Look at that. He's very scared.
we're drawing. But there's one thing I would say.
Say it quickly.
Plan this tournament well. The same team that will play Cape Verde that will play Egypt should start against Cape Verde.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
But the difference in the position and quality doesn't count. Yeah?
Shouldn't matter.
Right.
I'm going to ask you guys quickly to predict one game. Senegal, Cameroon.
Senegal wins.
Senegal wins?
Senegal, very narrow victory.
Senegal 2-1.
Senegal, Cameroon. Cameroon shocked Senegal, in my opinion.
God damn it, bro.
Yeah.
I think Cameroon because I think the curse will continue.
Okay.
The curse of champions will continue.
That's okay. Quick fire questions for you guys. Just give me one word answers only. Okay. Your favorite to win the tournament?
My favorite to win the tournament.
Yes.
Well, I'm tipping Algeria.
Algeria?
Yeah.
Player of the tournament?
Mohamed Kudus.
Top scorer of the tournament?
Mohamed Salah.
Flop of the competition? I'm talking country.
Country, Morocco.
Ooh, dark horse?
Dark horse, I'm looking at Cameroon.
Interesting. Daniel?
No, sorry. Côte d'Ivoire.
Côte d'Ivoire? Are you dark horse?
You believe in the curse of champions, but you say your flop of the tournament to Morocco. So are both Morocco and Senegal?
No, because Morocco are favorites, like overwhelming, even ahead of Senegal. So per their ratings, I think they'll flop according to that. But I still think Senegal.
Optas put Senegal as a
Tough.
that's
Yes,
supercomputer.
yes.
Oh, then let me change that. Then Senegal will be flops. I believe in the case. Honestly, I'm just Mallam Goal. Mallam says the case will work.
Same questions for you. Favorite to win the tournament?
Favorites win Cote d'Ivoire.
Best player?
Kudus.
Top scorer?
Iñaki Williams.
Flop? Country of the competition?
Morocco.
Interesting. Actually, same questions for you. Who's your pick to win the tournament?
Cameroon.
Cameroon?
Yeah.
Best player?
Mohamed Kudus.
Top scorer?
Vincent Abubakar.
And then your flop?
Morocco.
As long as I'm concerned.
What about yours then? Let me ask you.
That's what I was just going to say.
Go on.
I said, as long as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I think Senegal are breaking that jinx.
Right.
Winning the competition. I think Sadio Mane will be player of the tournament. And I think Mohamed Salah's Egypt will get to the semi-finals again. He will be top scorer of the competition. And I think the flop of the competition, in my opinion, would be the host.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Ghana are my dark horses.
And that is why it would be. Ghana is not in the conversation. They are a mediocre team.
All right.
They're an average team. Anyway, guys, that's it for another episode of Mallam Goal Podcast. We're back again. Of course, you see a lot of these episodes throughout the week. We're back again next week. Until then, thanks to Betway. You can go to betway.com.gh for the picks on all the AFCON matches, including all the selections on even the favorites to win the competition. And you never know, you could be walking away with some really good cash. Until next week, guys, bye for now.
See you all.
Cheers.